under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I would entertain a motion to, roll call.
Newberry.
Here.
Crowner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Lees.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Second item for us is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve is presented. Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. We'll go to staff and council reports, so our administrator.
Just a couple items. We have a much better turnout for Saturday, but it's always good to have more than enough. So please keep up the good work. And secondly, in my update from last Friday, I mentioned a housing project. Encourage you to stop in when you have a couple minutes, and so I can review that with you. But that's really all from tonight.
Greg, do you have the breakout by how many per group for Saturday, roughly, or pretty close?
It's in my update. I can grab it.
The one you sent Friday?
No, the one I'm putting together. Do you have the email from Peter?
Cool, just by the end, before the night's out.
Yeah.
So, Greg, do you have, is yours newer than mine? I got one on Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll
Here
move
we
to.
go. If you don't mind. Older adults 9, active 6, parents 8, mobility.
I think 3.
We think 3,
total.
not 2. Youth 12 and under 6, youth 13 plus 5, steering committee 8. So.
And that older adults, the first one you said was how many?
9.
9,
But I think
okay.
that'll be 10, 11.
There's people who are coming who won't sign up.
And they can, we'll have forms for anybody that hasn't filled out the release here. So.
We have enough to get them committed to coming.
That's-
Which is what we needed, and the more that come that day, we can get them signed up.
Thank you.
Mike?
In my update I gave to Greg, you guys got a list too. There's a davit crane that's needed for the south, or for the east and west lift stations that aren't in place for OSHA requirement. We have that forced air and thought we were good with gases, but didn't think if somebody fell and got hurt, there's no way to get them out of there. It's 2 confined spaces that are over 20 feet deep in the ground, so I just got the quote late today. It's like $8,100, so I'll be getting a memo for the next budget, or the next meeting to get to you to get that stuff and get it installed so we can be in compliance with OSHA in the confined space area. Had a couple calls on the basketball court and Pat Klein of the bank boards disappearing. That's us. They're being repainted and refurbished. They're not taking the basketball court out. As soon as we get them done and can get back over there, they'll be remounted and put back in the park. That and prepping for snow tomorrow, so that's about all I got.
Okay, thank you.
Where's the ladder at? Or what's the thing you got to buy?
Lift station.
The
2
lift
lift
station?
It's for lift.
The south one?
No, east and west,
East
the 2 big lift stations.
2 of them.
Yeah, when those were put in years ago, that wasn't ever, and I don't know how we went this long and
Yeah, that was my next question.
nobody's even thought about it, because we got forced air. When you open the doors, there's forced air blows in and it hits you in the face coming out. So our meter's always fine. We know there's no danger of gases like in confined spaces, and that's why we just went with it. Didn't, until we had our meeting this year is the first time that it was addressed or brought up, and it should have been in long ago. But we're in them 3 times a week cleaning the grates.
Yeah.
So
Needs to be done.
technically, we're supposed to have a harness on and be on, so it's just another expense that came up that we got to get taken care of.
Okay, Jesse?
had police applicant testing, physical agility test this weekend. I had 2 applicants pass that portion of it, so I'll be setting up the written portion of the test here in the next week, the week and a half, and we'll see how that goes with that. So we do have one opening. Do have one certified officer that is interested, so we're still pursuing that route of it also, so that'll help us out a lot if we can get him to come over here and get going here shortly. So I'll keep you updated with that. That's all I got this evening.
Okay, thank you. Fire, building,
The biggest thing I just want to say is with the impending weather, with what we're expected for amounts, and then Saturday and Sunday warming up, I just want to remind the citizens that 40 degrees on Saturday and Sunday is not going to be enough to melt that. Be sure that they get their sidewalks shoveled within 48 hours of the snowfall.
thank you. Clerk? No? Okay. Finance? No? Okay. Probably not on IT, or he would let me know. Any other staff reports? If not, I'll go to council. Melanie?
I've got nothing.
Okay. Treese?
I got one question for Jesse.
Yeah.
Do we still have an officer when school gets out up there to handle the traffic?
We try to when they're up there. I know about every morning I'm up there, and then in the afternoons we do patrol that area up there. Greg talked to me a little bit about it today, so I sent out an email right away this afternoon, just trying to remind them that there have been some cars stopped in the roadway picking up their kids, and they're not allowed to do that. So we want to try to keep that traffic going.
But that will depend on staffing, and it will depend on calls.
Yep.
If there's something that comes in at that
You want to
time.
deputize me? I can do it. I got a little badge. I mean, because some
I
of
can
us.
tase you.
A second.
Well, it's,
Crossing guard.
oh, I'll be more than a crossing. guard.
Remember, I get to tase you if you want to deputize.
Just small, but it's really horrible up there. And they start parking down Long Meadow, and I'm sure it's on East Bennington and Ramsey at like 2:30. People are parking.
Yep.
It's like, so could they like not put all these children that need to get picked up that are probably open and roll, couldn't they not put them in buses, shuttle them out to the mall, and the parents meet out there and decrease the congestion on Ramsey Street?
They've tried different work sessions and tried different things, so it's what it's been like for 20 plus years up there with the congestion, so. But
Maybe we can work together with them and hand out a few more tickets, and
work on that.
I'll help. I got good penmanship.
Better than mine.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
John?
No.
Andy?
Probably my biggest thing right now for 4th of July, if anybody has another group that's interested in being involved, running an event or something at the 4th of July, we've got a few things that have come up that we could use some more people. So if there's somebody else that wants to use it as a small fundraiser or something, now would be a good time for that.
Nothing from me.
Okay.
Andy, do you mean like an activity or help? What do you?
No, running a specific activity, not this one, but similar to, Lions Club runs the bingo, the sports boosters, the athletic boosters runs the dunk tank, those kind of things. So if there's other groups that are, have the staffing to be involved.
In running something we already have.
Correct, or maybe a new thing or two, but
Okay.
yeah, if there's somebody interested, now would be a good time. Okay, good.
I need to have a meeting with people who are on the selection committee for the business of the year. And so Greg needs to appoint somebody with him, I guess. And John, you're on that, as I remember. Would this Friday afternoon work for people?
Be John, Therese, you,
Therese and-
and then 2 staff members.
And that way, then we can contact SCC and the hospital, I think, right?
The school.
School,
Yeah,
excuse me.
yep, I'll give that to them. If you folks set the meeting time, I've got all the paperwork ready to roll. Just let me know when and I'll invite them.
Anytime other than 3.
What did you say?
Anytime other than 3.
On Friday.
I need
Or
to go
any
home
day.
and look at the calendar. I
Okay.
wasn't even expecting something like this, so I may have a doctor's appointment for my mother-in-law on Friday.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, why don't you let Greg know?
In the
okay?
morning.
Yeah.
Would that be okay, Trace?
Oh, Friday's good with me. 5 o'clock somewhere? Oh, no, no.
Maybe that too.
Just let me know what you decide and I'll get the others invited.
Okay.
And what time are you wanting to do it, Greg? Anytime Friday?
Anytime other than 3. I mean, we do it,
2?
well, 3 says a 10 a.m. limit. I was going to suggest we could even do it earlier if folks needed to.
You're funny. Cute. I'm
Greg.
tolerant.
Coffee to wake you up.
You got a 10 o'clock meeting with Nagraki.
Oh, that's not on my calendar yet. Yeah, 10 and 3.
And it takes what, a couple hours?
No, I bet
Do it all.
I bet half an hour you'll be out of there. I would bet.
We can do it on Friday, you just don't know exactly when,
When, okay,
just in case.
all right. So we'll tentatively plan for Friday at least, and then we'll find out.
7 a.m.?
7 a.m.?
You're funny, aren't you?
7 a.m.
Well, actually,
I know,
I wouldn't mind 8. Oh, yeah, I'm out of the house before 8 usually. so.
I can tell her I'm going to shut the main down again. I know that gets her out of bed early.
I'm not in charge of this one. That's
All
the
right.
mayor.
All right, well, we'll work on that one, so thank you. Seeing no citizens, we don't have any inquiries. We can move on to new business. This is considering supplemental work related to the non-destructive testing of the force main. So you've seen the memo. Discussion on this, Greg?
Yes, so this is, was on for discussion and consideration. We're not asking for council to act on this tonight. Based on at least one of the numbers that we've seen so far, the costs are coming in substantially higher. So we'd like to be able to evaluate that and bring that back at a later date. We're not ready to recommend that we move forward tonight based on those costs, which were significantly higher from one vendor, I believe, just the one?
Just one.
So, the second issue, Mike had reviewed the work that we were considering doing ourselves, and if they want all of those holes open at the same time, then we likely will not be able to do that. That doesn't mean we won't be able to assist in the project, but it would be to a lesser degree, because they want them all open at the same time as they can go from hole to hole to hole, be done with it.
There was 4 holes.
Yeah, we don't have 4 shoring boxes.
Shoring boxes.
That's
Plus,
the $32,500 portion
yeah,
of that.
plus the depth, and the more I thought about it, that this is a potential causing a leak, that we probably should have a contract with an excavator on site doing this, so that if we get a blowout, we don't have to wait on somebody to haul in equipment to fix it. We got the repair clamps, and we can go right to fixing it right away if something happens.
So we'd like to give you a better number before we make a recommendation. We're not ready to do that tonight. We just wanted to give you a quick update on those 2 items at this point.
How much is the cost increase?
The one, the cost came in at $70,000 instead of
32.
32, was it?
That was the digging part, the 32? Okay.
That's just the one, so we're
The
still,
ultrasonic portion.
that's, yeah, so we're still getting some additional information.
Tammy's going to get some more information from the test people too on whether that'll test around the 90s and the corners, and then we have the issue, the piece we repaired is plastic, so we know it won't pass through that, so we will have to change the location of where we're going to do the Ford test. And me and Rod was in a meeting with her today, and there's just lots of other issues that came up and questions that she needs to talk to them. And once she gets answers from them, then we will be seeking more bids and prices on going about it, so.
Is it possible that we hire a contractor to dig it instead of them doing it? Hiring a contractor?
Oh, we would do
We would.
do that, so they don't manage it under their contract.
Yeah, we would do that. It's just
So
that
we don't have the overhead. Yeah, absolutely.
we just checked with one contractor we use and got a quote to see where we stood, and when it came in over double what she said, that's when she wants to ask more questions, and before we have anybody else bid what was suggested, we need to get some questions answered before we go on to get new bids.
Yeah, we'd run any contracts through the city rather than the engineer, so there's no overhead. Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on this? No? All right, well, then we'll move to number 2. That's considering the disposal of the fire department's heavy rescue vehicle.
Sean brought this up previously. We're not ready to make a recommendation on what we do for a replacement, but we do think it would be a good opportunity to get it on the market sooner rather than later.
So you're not using it at all then?
Just for manpower, and we're sending 2 to 3 guys, and we can do that in a pickup truck. We're not using it for responding to accident scenes. We use the new engine for that.
So I just, what has changed from now when we don't need it to before when we had to have a $500,000 vehicle?
I would call it our mission. How we are responding to calls now as opposed to then. And in addition to that, how we're utilizing our current fleet now as opposed to then.
We also had not the counties, but when this was purchased,
Townships.
you were still doing the townships too, right?
Back in '88, we were doing the townships, yes. But when we built the new engine that we just picked up, we designed that to be a multi-purpose vehicle to cover accidents in addition to fires. It carries all the stuff that was once on the rescue that we use in car accidents. And the reason behind that is we looked at, instead of rolling 2 large vehicles out to a car accident, you might get the extrication equipment, you might get your firefighting equipment. Now you get both.
So
Right.
does 2 trucks have the same thing on it? Because don't you have 2 trucks that can do that?
Extrication, we
Yeah.
took the extra set of extrication gear off of engine 2 and put it onto engine 3 when we got the new engine.
Okay.
So we do have a backup set. If we have multiple vehicles, or if one set goes down for one reason or another, we do have a backup set. The only thing we're using the rescue right now for is for taking manpower to a scene and for the light tower. Again, the new vehicle has lights 360 degrees. We lit it up like a Christmas tree with scene lights, work lights, not just red and blues, but the white lights that we use to illuminate where we're working. Back in the day, like Greg mentioned, we used to run that vehicle separately as opposed to the current one.
What was your estimate on what you thought we'd get out of it?
I'd like to try and get the 300,000 that we put in.
Yeah, I was thinking that's what you said last week.
250 to 300, could be somewhere in between.
The other thing is, we put up some of the equipment onto the tower, the aerial itself. We have the lights on the tower, so.
Motion approved.
No, this is just a discussion.
just a discussion.
We didn't have any exact motion on this, and I'm assuming that since we're not bringing forth anything, we will maybe at next council meeting.
No, it just say consider, so council can make a motion tonight.
Okay, make a motion, all right. No, Therese made a motion, and we have support for it, so.
I do want to point out, as was brought up, there is no plan currently to immediately replace that vehicle. And as was brought up at a previous meeting, even if we did, it would be 2024 before we'd ever see anything. So as of right now, we're not looking at anything exactly.
My only question is, as a council, do we have any other input after this point if this goes on, I'm assuming it'll be on the Gov auction site there, right? Will it,
The Gov site, Iowa League of Cities, of course, will send notice to those that we're aware of, and go out. And we can put a minimum on
I
it.
guess that's my question is, I don't want to come back next week and we sold it for 50 grand.
No.
No,
Yeah.
Well, I want to have a
Reserve?
reserve on it,
yeah, reserve, that's where.
minimum reserve.
Okay.
In this motion, does that include a minimum reserve on there?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so your minimum is what? 250,000?
200?
15.
250 is what?
We can always come back.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that motion would carry. That brings us to the end of new business, and we don't have any old business, so I would say that I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support, all in favor signify by saying aye.